And the Vegas Golden Knight bid for Lord Stanley will continue. The Vegas Golden Knights win 3-2 in such a tight game against the Minnesota Wild in Game 6 for the win in the series, 4-2 win. A lot of emotions going through me right now. I'm happy. We advanced. This is the first time that we won a series since we won the Cup. Last year being the 1 year in between. So, long time, right? Minnesota. And this is the 8th straight first round exit for the Minnesota Wild. Not necessarily like they missed the playoffs last year, but like since their round win in 2015, they've made the playoffs 8 times and have been out in the first round each and every time. And I want to address Minnesota fans first. I'm sorry how you feel about the refs and all that jazz. There were a lot of things that were let go by the refs on both sides. And I feel like you guys fail to see that for the most part. I do think that Vegas getting that power play that was clearly a trip on Jack Eichel by Kirill Kaprizov actually benefited you guys because it forced Kaprizov to sit for 2 minutes when he probably would have been out there for most of that time. And not because of the power play, not because of just 5-on-5. If Ed had stayed, the Minnesota Wild were sending him and Boldy, their line out every single second shift. Not really what you guys want to hear. I get it. And there were missed calls at the very end. Specifically a trip I thought I saw, and then a little bit of a takedown hold. I can't remember if it was Howden, but there were also missed slashes up and down the board on both teams. There were missed trips, there were missed pretty much everything. And it does suck to be a Minnesota fan. I thought it was a bad omen sending Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, out in the very beginning. If I'm a Minnesota fan, I'm like, why on earth would you invoke any other sports team that's not the Timberwolves right now, or the Frost for the PWHL, who the women's sports have been really good for Minnesota with them winning the Walter Cup last year. So hats off to them for that. But I do think Minnesota, they outscored us 19-18 in this total series. They would not go away. I do think that the better team won the series. And usually that's the case, usually 100% of the time. But the Minnesota Wild are one heck of a team. Kaprizov and Boldy both led the NHL the entire playoffs in goals with 5 apiece. And they were over half your goals. Ryan Hartman would be a phenomenal middle six player if it wasn't for his antics that are borderline assault that get him suspended every season. And he scored 2 tonight, Ryan Hartman. And he's a really good player if he were able to stop being Ryan Hartman. But between the Vikings, the Twins, the Wild, having so much minimal playoff success throughout all of the sports franchise in Minnesota, I get it. It really, really sucks. Vegas didn't have sports teams at all until the Vegas Golden Knights existed. And so I really can't comprehend what that's like and how it must feel like the world is against you. And then also not really seeing much of the playoffs and seeing much of that intensity ramp up. I mean, you guys have been in the playoffs 8 of the last 10 seasons, but you know what I mean? Not being able to see a ton of that would definitely make the higher intensity and refs letting things go also just add fuel to the fire there. I'm going on and on. Last thing I'll say, you guys have the cap penalties from the buyouts for Parise and Suter coming off your books for next season. And if you guys play your cards right in free agency, I could see us meeting again next year in the 3rd round, especially if you get a healthy season of Kirill the Thrill, who is such a treat to watch. And also Matt Boldy and Joel Eriksson-Ek getting a healthy season for him as well. And Gustafsson playing like Gus did this series all season. He should have probably been a nominee for the Vezina. And anyway. And then there's... oh, I'm gonna cry. Marc-Andre Fleury. Should be first ballot Hall of Famer. Incredible career. In my heart, best goalie, which is a reference to his girls in the 2021 playoffs, last time we faced the Wild. I think it was the 3rd round that letter was sent to him. It's gonna be different. I've never known the NHL where Fleury wasn't an active goaltender. And man, that really, really sucks. Getting to see him play again in Vegas one last time Oh, man. Probably the second best thing in this playoff so far, other than Vegas winning the series, and you don't want to hear that from me if you're a Minnesota fan. But yeah, no, like my kid's middle name is Fleury. He is the entire reason that I watched this sport, that I fell in love with this sport, that I was so ready for the NHL to come to Vegas when they finally did in 2017. And that was all because of Marc-Andre Fleury. That diving save in Game 7 of the 2009 Stanley Cup Final. I'm gonna elaborate more on this and make a Fleury video later this summer, but that I can finally finish the script for now that his playing career is done. Oh boy, I'm wearing Fleury. That's a Fleury jersey. I have all 4 for the teams that he played for, and like maybe he comes back. One can dream, right? No, I don't know. Yeah, no, this is stupid. Like borderline idolizing, like in the bad way. Professional athlete, but he is just very, very like that's my kid's middle name is Fleury. What do you expect? I'm getting a McFlurry tomorrow. Oh, moving on. I'm just hard right turn. I'm gonna find a place to put this. Victory, Flamingo. Okay, we won the series. We move on to face the winner of LA and Edmonton. I'm assuming it's gonna be Edmonton based on the way that the last 3 games have gone. And you know, that's gonna be worse. The fact that we had to deal with Minnesota, really good team, with their mostly complaining about the refs and blaming a lot of the stuff on the refs. Although like John Hines and Nyquist, I wouldn't blame Merrill nearly as much as you guys are, but Nyquist and Hines, yeah, no, and Bill Guerin, I guess. You guys have such a good team and you guys deserve to go further in the playoffs, but you ran into Vegas in the first round. And unlike what Dallas was able to do with us last year, you guys, last year we were a lot more injured. And I think if you faced us last year, in the exact same scenario, Vegas wins the division, but we're just as injured as we were last year, and you guys would have upset us, 100%. But that's not the case. Vegas has a healthy roster this season, and it really, really sucks for you guys. Great for us. Yeah, I said I was moving on. I haven't moved on. I'm moving on. Vegas gets on the board first with the power play goal. Shea Theodore. It's a double minor. McNabb gets high-sticked by Rossi. It's a double minor. McNabb did kind of lift the stick, but if you're Rossi, you got to have control of your stick. Like that's rule number 1. I remember there was a point where Vegas slashed, not the slash. It was a Colorado Avalanche player who only had one hand on his stick, and like he dropped it because of course he did. It was like a stick lift that turned into anyway. And Vegas got called for that in overtime, and it's like, what are you like? No, but yeah, you got to be in control of your stick, and ends up happening. Shea Theodore scores. That's the jersey I was wearing with my kids. I got to watch the first period with my kids and my family.
Yay, Golden Knights!
That's right, dude. That's right, my son, Eichel. Theodore! Olofsson. Theodore. Shot. Go! Go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Look at mine.
Yeah, you're wearing stone.
I am Vegas.
Yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights, huh? And then the rest with my youngest, who's only a month old, so she didn't really watch it.
This is your first season. Your first season in rookie.
And my wife, and that was the first game of the season where I was able to watch all of it with someone else, and that was great. But the Minnesota Wild roar back, and Ryan Hartman on a one-time knuckleball puck from Foligno buries it past Hill. It's a tie game 1-1.
Are you kidding?
Challenge for offsides. And the rest of this game up until the point where Vegas takes the lead back is just agonizingly fast. This game blew by up until Jack Eichel scores on this breakaway like 170-foot pass from Mark Stone, where it's a defensive breakdown from the Minnesota Wild. And I don't know how this all happened, but Mark Stone just grabs the puck and goes, yeah, screw it. I'm taking this directly from Jesse Granger, but he goes, yeah, screw it. Eichel's down there somewhere, and just airmails it on a hallelujah air pass all the way down, and Jack Eichel gets it, and the defender that was trying to get it dove for it and missed. And so Eichel has a breakaway, and he buries it past Gus to give Vegas the 2-1 lead. And then after that, it was agonizingly slow the rest of the game for Vegas fans. I'm sure for Minnesota it felt completely different. The rest of this game was just a whirlwind of ups and downs, and honestly the second period was wide open when it was tied 1-1, and both teams had really good opportunities. Adin Hill, fantastic game from him, like his best game of the series, and that's typically what he's done in game sixes against Edmonton and Dallas, and the year that we won the cup, and then also against Dallas last year to force the game 7. He was Aiden Mountain, and he was phenomenal for us tonight. It must feel like what we felt facing Gus throughout the series for Minnesota fans. And then there's a scramble at the end of the third. There's like 4 minutes left, and Boldy with an incredible defensive play to dive for the puck, knock it away from Jack Eichel. I don't know if he actually touched it. Jack Eichel whiffed like twice with an empty cage. Hurdle earlier in the game, second period, whiffed with a completely empty cage after an amazing defensive play from Jared Spurgeon. Blocked. Hurdle! How do you miss that? What? Your guys' captain. And then it was just incredible plays that bailed out Gus, and Vegas would also have incredible things that bailed them out. Shea Theodore's stick broke on a pass and directly turnover in the neutral zone that would have led to a 2-on-1 the other way, but then Kolazar back-checked at the right time accidentally and grabs the puck. And it's just stuff like that that is incredible. And Boldy makes this incredible desperation move, all for it to not matter. Vegas gets the control of the puck back. Braden McNabb skates up, sends it on, and Mark Stone bats it into the back of the net like he's practicing for spring training. He wants to make the Oakland A's team or the Battle for Vegas softball tournament. Like he just batted it in out of midair to go past Gus to make it 3-1 Vegas. And at that point, it was like, yes, relief. And then Ryan Hartman scores again. No time passed. Ryan Hartman immediately just barrels down and is keeping the Wild heartbeat alive and gives them hope again. And Hartman scores. And seriously, he would be such a good player if not for his just completely boneheaded non-hockey stuff that he does on the ice. And then the Wild have all this pressure. There's a 6-on-5. They pull Gus, and Vegas gets 2 broken sticks in that time. So it's like a 6-on-3. I guess you have the body position, so like 3.5. But Vegas ices the puck. They're able to get the sticks. John Hines calls a timeout, and I don't know if I do that because Vegas is winded. They are completely gasping for air. And yet, the Minnesota Wild keep going at it, and there's a couple of missed calls, I'd say, that benefited Vegas there at the end. And they hold on and survive with the lead in regulation to win against the Minnesota Wild 3-2. Minnesota's top line production trailed off a cliff after Bruce Cassidy made amazing adjustments to pair Carlson and Eichel together. Carlson on the wing, fantastic. His speed, and they just were so good at shutting down the top line for the Minnesota Wild. And so you like Kaprizov and Boldy to show up offensively, but like that was just really good work from Bruce Cassidy to finally find the pair, the line to match against your guys' unbelievable line. And credit to Bruce Cassidy again, because throughout the entire series, he kept, especially the first like 3-4 games, throwing the lines into a blender, trying to see what fit against specifically the Wild. He found it, he stuck to it, and Vegas was able to win 3 in a row because of that. What is happening in Edmonton? Holy moly. Oh man, I really don't know what else to say. Honestly, I think Vegas is, I know the last time that we faced the Minnesota Wild it went 7, but this really felt a lot more equal of a series. Vegas was up 3-1 and they blew games 5 and 6. Like it felt very different than when Minnesota went up 2-1. It just was like, I don't know, like Vegas should have, but then they didn't. And, you know, it is what it is. But I really think that this was, I don't know, the playoffs this year have been insane. All the series have been insane, but the Western Conference, you know, being the first to clinch in the Western Conference to go on to the second round, crazy. And we'll see what happens from here. That's going to be it for round 1, Game 6's nightly review. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Minnesota, for a fantastic season. Thank you for taking care of Flower. Oh my goodness, he loved it there. And I know, like, after Vegas traded him to Chicago, he was talking about retiring then. But the way that you guys, like any fan base that has him on their team, are going to shower him with love because he is a fantastic teammate, a fantastic player, a fantastic person, human being, which is why I was comfortable and my wife is comfortable with having our firstborn kid's middle name be Fleury. Like, that is probably the biggest reason of why I like the Wild, is because of how they opened their arms and treated Flower. But that's, I keep adding on. That's gonna be it for today's nightly review. Thank you so much for watching. Go Knights go. Have a good night. Night! Go Knights go! Go Knights go! Go Knights go!
Okay, go, 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 go. Go, go! Go, Knights, go! Go, Knights, go!
Off the post. Good. Go, go, go. Sod. Right into the middle of the pass.
Are you kidding? Minnesota Wild is on.
Nice! Aiden Hill.
Aiden Hill! Let's go!
Sticks down. You don't want a high stick anymore. Wow! Oh man, that triple through Gus.
They're still at 1.
Oh yeah?
Yep. Dimino.